I got something else on my desk here. When you're unmuted, it echoes over here on mine. I'm trying to get all of it cleared away.
One more.
David, are we a go?
Looks like we have everyone back and we are live.
Okay. Coming back to our open session. Announcements of action taking in closed session. There was no action taken. Okay, so item number 5, district report, superintendent's report.
I used to broil pork chop with salt, pepper, garlic, and oregano. I just use the Montreal seasoning, which has most of those.
Famous last words. You're still on mute. I wanted to give 2 updates. One is just a health and safety update. As you may know, Humboldt County moved into what's called the red tier last Tuesday. We never know what's going to happen until it happens. However, the public health officer was saying it looks like they expect that the data will trend favorably towards staying in that red tier, if not moving into a less restrictive tier, as unlike when we kind of bounced into the red over the winter. So it's looking good. At the same time, we reduced our in-person instruction because locally we've had some a surge in cases. So we've rolled back to distance learning. We're looking at having some continuous days of no local cases, or at least with the Hoopa Valley tribes levels going down. So we're back to the day we were looking at predicting and moving forward and asking the board to move forward with the phases, but we're back to the day by day play. So that is what's happening on our, occupies most of our times. The school sites are really getting prepared for having students back. So we're just waiting for the conditions to change. So we really feel like we're ready. And then I can talk about some more specifics when we get to hybrid learning later in the meeting. And then the other piece is about facilities. And I wanted to give a facilities update. I know we're all looking forward to, moving forward with developing our iTech building, but we still have to kind of clean up our old things. So I wanted to just keep the board in the loop that we're going to have the RFP process for construction manager for work pertaining to the completion of all of the previous phases of construction, including the punch list of any work that has to be done and the DSA closeout documentation. So I've gotten questions about what's next, but we still need to just finish that up. So those are the 2 things I wanted to just keep the board up to, informed about.
Okay, so we'll move to the consent agenda. And so with the consent agenda, we have 6A, B, and D on the consent agenda. C has been pulled as its separate item. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. You're muted, Carrie.
I make a motion. This is Debbie. I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it. It's Jeff.
Okay, Debbie and Kadusha.
Exactly. Okay, all in favor? Suzanne?
Aye.
Martha? Martha?
Aye.
Am I? Yeah. Okay, Carrie?
Aye.
Now I lost track where I am. I did Martha. Okay, Rob? 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 Can you hear me, Rob? Raise your hand.
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay. You vote yes?
Aye. Yes.
Debbie? E? Kadusha? Kadusha?
Yes, Dia.
Okay, and Laura Lee, yes, so unanimous. Motion is approved. Okay, now we will go to item 6C, comprehensive school safety plans. This comprehensive school safety plans are reviewed and updated annually. These plans contain policies and procedures related to school safety. Specific confidential tactical procedures are in each school's emergency plan. Do I have a motion?
I would like to make a motion. I would like to make a motion that we approve the comprehensive school safety plans with the understanding that that corrections will be made and brought back to the board.
Is there a second?
I'll second it. This is Kadusha.
Okay, thank you. Discussion?
I would like to, this is Carrie, and I would like to say that I went through the comprehensive school safety plans with a fine tooth comb and made corrections and made additions, and Jen and I got together and talked about that there were so many corrections and additions need to be made that she's going to pull the principals all together and make sure that everything is all ironed out and straightened out before we get the safety plans again.
Okay. Any other
Okay,
comments?
Laura Lee?
Sue?
Yeah, this is Sue. I have, I'd like to suggest to the greatest extent possible, the plans be consistent with one another. I realize that you have to have provisions for things that are different from campus to campus, but for the most part, the understandings about safety plans, provisions might be better if we try to ensure consistency from school to school.
Sue,
Especially.
this is Carrie, Sue. And Sue, that's one of the things that Ben and I talked about. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
And this is Martha. Because I know that at Wichita and Orleans, in the event where the students needed to be removed from the premises, we don't have transportation available to us. That probably should be reflected in the plans and allowed for. Like, how would we evacuate students off of the premises if we needed to do that?
Okay. Any other comments?
I'm sorry, Martha, did you say Orleans and you said another school? Did you say which?
Wichita.
Okay.
Yeah, neither one of us has a bus.
Okay. Any other comments? I would like to commend the administrators, the principals, for pulling this together. I understand that it's been a while since it's been updated, and I know that it takes quite a bit of time to do this, and I know they were working really hard, and so I really want to commend them for the work they've done, and we'll go for, and from now on, with them being updated, they should be easily updated every year like they should be. So thank you, principals, and appreciate your effort and work into it. Okay, we will, ready for a vote. Martha,
Aye.
Rob,
Aye.
Debbie, Kadusha,
Yeah.
Laura Lee, yes, Sue,
Aye.
and Carrie.
Aye.
Okay, approved unanimously.
Laura Lee,
Yes,
Laura Lee,
yes,
who made the second on that motion?
Kadusha,
Okay. And, all right.
okay. Let's see, where are we at? Consent. Okay, action items, 7A, hybrid learning plan. Due to the changing nature of the COVID data, the superintendent will make a recommendation regarding the implementation of the hybrid learning plan at the board meeting. So Jen?
so yeah, I mean, even Friday, just, when you received your packets, I knew that things may be changing, so we're waiting for a couple of days of no local cases so that we can move back into the phase 1 of hybrid learning where we have one-on-one student appointments. Our staff is ready for, once the local cases have gone down and, we feel like we are in the red instead of in the purple locally, to move into the subsequent phases pretty quickly. There was a discussion with staff about, with the administration about how they're really looking forward to moving in. They're preparing for phase 3 with busing, but they're really looking forward to having phase 2 where they can have groups. And I asked, why would we want to move, kind of accelerate? It's a lot for teachers to do these one-on-ones. If they can do small groups, it's a better use of their time for, having small groups. And the classrooms have had 2 walkthroughs with our health and safety team. And we're looking at practicing, doing some basically like a bus route with the MTO, but we decided not to because of the high level of cases, and we're just trying to keep things safe. So if we have a couple days where then we can do a practice drill, use willing adults to pretend they're kids so they can see what it's like to get off of the bus. So the county, as I said, is in the red. I don't have I got a text message that said there were 0 new cases at Kamau today, but the website only goes back to Saturday.
What I listened to was the OES report on KIDE today. And I believe there were none today, but there were several yesterday.
Yesterday, I think 4 or 5. In terms of the county, we're well below the threshold for which we would be able to open, because in the county, we have 15 new cases per 100,000. The trigger point for the state is saying, things change once you get to 25 the case rate. So,
okay, so what you're telling us is that we're going to go back into phase 1 as soon as the numbers go down.
as soon as, and that's what the health and safety team came up with. Either the tribe reduces that ultra purple and brings the level down, or we have a couple of days of no new cases. So then I can move us into phase 1, but then you all, the board would decide, when we're ready to go into phase 2. And that's kind of
And
where
we're not
people are.
there. We're not on phase 2. So I want to make clear when I'm not sure it says action item, but we've already given you the approval for phase 1. So I'm not sure we need a motion because we're not moving into phase 2.
Correct. Yeah, I thought we would be there, but we didn't have the flat. And if we had had 3 consecutive days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday of 0 cases, then I would be asking to be able to move into phase 2, but we don't have the data to back that.
Okay, so possibly at next week's meeting, we'll have more information and so no action taken on 7A, is that? Or do we still need to confirm where we're at? I need a parliamentarian. Sue,
That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that basically we're being updated.
It's,
That-
yeah.
Phase
so we
one,
don't need,
that the phase one
Parliament-
previously approved and then abandoned because of data. If we get good data, we'll go back into that.
I need a parliamentarian sidekick here. We do not need to take action, so we don't need to make.
The only action would be is if the board wants to come up with parameters to say, hey, when we hit this particular level, that we can go ahead. If you define the language that guides why we would move into phase 2. So if the health and safety advisory team can move us in, if we have
That's
whatever number of days.
That's not on our agenda, so bring this issue back to the next week and we will take no action on 7A tonight.
Because of, okay, I'm trying to, because of the board taking action to move us into phase 2 versus bestowing that to the health and safety team. Is that where you're seeing that being different?
No, the board already approved phase 1
Mhm.
based on favorable COVID data. And then we didn't go into it because the data became unfavorable.
Right, right.
So now we're saying if it becomes favorable, you don't need a new board action because we had approved that previously.
Right, so, and then where you were adding, Jan, was the number of days, et cetera, that's the health and safety. That's not on our agenda item, so we won't take action on that tonight. So, okay, so let's hope that we have no more cases around here and we can get on with the business of educating students in person. Okay, let's
So what are
move.
we,
No
are we just
action.
writing no action when Carrie and I are taking our,
No action.
okay.
No action on 7A. 7B, agreement to accept funding from outside source, Two Feathers Native American Family Services. Two Feathers works in partnership with KTJUSD to provide mental health services to students. Approval allows the district to receive the funds that Two Feathers has been awarded. And in our packets, we had a abstract and also an agreement for outside funding to receive the funds, which here it is $70,000.
That would be for it's a 2-year amount. They did not award, they received them for last year for 1920 and for 2021. So it's for 2 years, but they didn't get them to us, or we didn't, go through this process last year.
I'll entertain a motion to accept.
I move to, shall I continue? I move to accept funding from Two Feathers Native American Family Services.
And state your name so we can. This
It's
was
Sue.
Sue, correct? Okay.
This is
there a
Martha. I'll
second?
second that.
Okay, Martha, Sue moved, Martha second, discussion. I've really been pleased with the work that Two Feathers has been doing. And I believe that it's been very, very beneficial for all of our students. And I reflect back on the days before we had their services to our students. And I know the whole school board had been crying in closed session in a number of cases with expulsions that were just so sad. So I'm glad to see that things are turning around, and Two Feathers is there to help our students out and our staff.
I just wanted to add another thing with this Garrett Lee Smith SAMHSA award that they received is really to additionally provide support to our staff in terms of, getting training. So it's pretty flexible. And yes, I agree. People are really happy with their presence here.
Okay, any other comments or discussion? Okay, let me find my names of who. I need it up here. I need a chalkboard. Okay, we'll start with Martha. Motion to accept the 70,000 from Two Feathers.
Aye.
Martha is aye. Rob,
Aye.
Debbie, KTJUSD,
Yes.
Laura Lee, yes. Sue,
Aye.
Carrie.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous to accept the funding from Two Feathers Native American Family Services. Okay, item 8, been changed from discussion to information items. And I want to give Margot head kudos for being brave enough to bring the first draft to anybody regarding a year-round calendar. This is not meant to that it would be the only calendar proposed. We do know that it has to go to both unions. I would suggest that as a start, this is to start discussion that each school site, their site councils, their staffs, both unions, staff, parents, all weigh in on idea of possibly moving to a year-round calendar. And it may be something to phase in. What I have heard is a lot of people coming up with different ideas but basically bouncing off of this because it's been, I remember years and years where the school and the tribes have been at odds because the students have been penalized for going to dances versus being in school. We've tried all sorts of things. And then the calendars have more recently been giving time off during dances. So anyway, Margot had the idea that the year-round calendar around all of our ceremonial dances, fishing seasons, gathering, be looked at. And this is just a first idea draft, and I'm sure things will change tremendously. So this was to get discussion going. It's an information item for right now. So no action from us, but I do want to push it out for discussion, the IPP, to the tribes, to, like I say, the unions. So we'll see where we end up with this. Okay.
I have a suggestion too. If this is Sue,
Uh-huh.
if it's our intention to consider schedules that work around fishing and gathering, those kind of things, we probably should involve fishers and gatherers. Because I think some of these dates, I know they're tentative, but the fish kind of decide when they're going to run based on river flows and temperatures. And the basket weaving materials, have tended to be later in the year than early March, like early April. A lot of gatherers have found the spring break pretty consistent with when to pick hazel sticks, for example. So yeah, we would need to involve some of the practitioners if we're gonna try to work things like that into the calendar.
Right.
You know, Hoopa fisheries might
That-
be a good resource too.
Well, that was my first comment to Margot when I was discussing with her. I said, now, are you sure the fish are going to keep
Yeah.
up to this calendar? And she said, of course, of course. Anyway, but it shows
Yeah.
that we're thinking along those lines. Okay.
Yeah.
Before you go on to the next calendar, I just want to make sure everybody sees that the standard traditional in terms of for regular school year, that HCOE calendar is in there as well. So I don't know if it's because one got printed first, but we often will start with the Humboldt County Office of Ed draft just to have a landing place. We're required to provide 180 days of instruction to students. There are different annual instructional minutes requirements. They increase as students get older. So it's this big formula of how to create a schedule. And the calendar will, again, as Laura Lee said, we will work with the union to come up with the best dates for professional development. The county is suggesting a middle of the year PD day. So, we have a lot to think about. So it wasn't necessarily suggesting one calendar or I wasn't making a recommendation. I said, here are the calendars that exist. We still need to make ours. So the
Right.
one thing
So
that's
this was-
consistent, 180 days, that's what we have to have for kids.
And we have to have so many instructional minutes too, so, okay. The item 8B, ACES childcare draft proposal. Now this is a proposal, so Jen, you want to, and it's an
Well,
information item.
at one of our leadership meetings, Tavuchi Colgrove said, I have great news. I found out that there's this flexibility with the ACES program and that there was, so she's the kind of person that makes things move instead of going from concept, and having it be something that's actual. We know that childcare is a need for our staff overall. So I said, go ahead and let's go ahead and see what kinds of things we could put together. Of course, considering we're not having students on campus right now, we thought this is a good time to at least just get the idea out to you all. We can have a discussion. I can have Tavuchi on the regular board meeting next week. But the idea is to be able to provide our staff with some childcare relief. And the ACES program has provided, she submitted and received the waiver. The one thing that we were disappointed to find out about is that we cannot make accommodations for children that are not school age. So the ACES program, through the ACES program, we can provide childcare to school age children, kids that would normally be getting the ACES services. So,
But not.
What is
not
ACES?
After school. It's the after school program.
Okay.
So I have a question about that, because when I look at the plan, it's like having students on campus in pods, but
Mhm.
we aren't even teaching kids in pods. So does that mean we're not doing this until the kids are coming back on campus?
You mean the childcare? Are you talking?
Yeah.
This is just a proposal that,
Well, what I'm just questioning,
go ahead.
I'm just confused. We would be bringing children on campus for childcare, but we're not bringing them on campus to go to school. Is that how I'm understanding this? Like, okay, for example,
Yeah,
we're doing distance learning with our students, but we would but we would bring students to school if they needed childcare. Is that what this is?
So that's not what this is suggesting necessarily, Martha. We could be facing that decision. This is just kind of getting prepped. Because, for example, we're doing the bus schedules and all of the routes and how we're going to but we don't have kids on campus. We're just getting the infrastructure set up.
Uh-huh.
So we figured that you all would need to really, kick this around in terms, contemplate it. So we wanted to at least get a preliminary draft. I think when we're ready to actually implement, then that's when we would ask that question. Where are we at with instruction? Where are we at with, which phase of hybrid learning? And are we ready to do the childcare?
Then the other question I had, is this for all staff or certificated staff?
Oh, we were not, yeah, it's for staff, for all staff. It's not. For,
Oh, okay, because Orleans didn't have any number, but I know some of, at least one of our staff members has three children that she
yes,
could,
so,
probably use it.
So Tavuchi's
Well-
also going to reach out, in terms of classified, this is the information that we have. I know that Maggie's got some information about certificated childcare needs. So Tavuchi was going to conference with her, but this was for our district-wide, because when, KTTA did their report about certificated, it only told us about certificated. We wanted to get classified included in there as well, because they have,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it would be.
Okay. Now, I'm confused here now, Jen, because you said that you have to be school age, so you have to be a kindergartner or a TK and above in order to participate. Now, wouldn't those children be in school?
Yes, it was preschool age. So we were hoping that we could extend it to, 3-year-olds, but we can't.
Preschool is
Excluded.
so we cannot have preschoolers here.
Correct. We had to add that in kind of last minute. We put, so on page, on the original, the first page of the draft, in between where she's got the enrollment numbers, we originally asked, because we thought that would be, we did the inquiry. And this was when Tavuchi was in the middle of, she'd already filed the waiver with CDE. So if you look in the middle of the page, it says the ACES proposal intended to offer childcare services to all ages of children. But once she actually got the waiver from CDE, it did not include preschool age children. It's only school aged. So we have a need that we can't meet because we're not allowed to serve. We can serve TK and K, but we can't serve preschool age.
Okay, well, yeah, we need a lot more information on this. I know we used to have a program here, I can't remember the name of it, Carmi would remember, where we had a room set aside for babies, for students, and also for staff. So I don't know where that, what happened to that program, but yeah, if the kids are already in school, it's kind of baffling.
Oh, okay. So I'm sorry. So when we move back to the cohort, if we move, let's say we're in a full, hybrid learning, we still have students that are just coming 2 days a week. So if their parents work for the school district and they need to report to work, we want them to be able to report to work on the days when their kids are not in school, because this is just for during the, this waiver is for during the COVID time. I'm sorry, I did not understand your question, Laura Lee. So if I would be teaching, for example, if I was a teacher, I'd need, childcare during the five days a week, but my child only gets to go to school for 2 of those days.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I missed what you were saying, but now, yeah, because our kids are going to be in school really limited amount of time.
No, I
4
keep
hours a
thinking they're
week.
going to be there
Right.
time. Okay.
Well, and that's where I was confused about
Um,
whether it was classified, because classifieds have been working this whole time. And I don't know if they've been bringing their kids on campus. So, okay. So, and then when we're back to normal school, then it goes back to regular ACES.
Yes, I mean, the intention is that this is a provision that we're making because employees don't have their kids in school during this hybrid learning. And then I
Yeah.
wouldn't expect we would do it next year, but if we don't have, restrictions on kids attending school
Okay.
next year.
Okay, well, we're down to the adjournment. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move
I
that
make
we,
the motion.
Okay, Debbie moved, Caduce just second, that we adjourn. I gotta do the roll call again. Then I turn my paper over. Okay, Rob,
Aye. Yes.
Martha,
Aye.
Debbie, Caduce,
Yeah.
Laurelie, yes, Sue,
I.
Carrie.
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned, and thank you, everyone.
Thank
See
you
you.
all.
Thank you.
So
Okay.
I have a question
Right.
before everybody leaves. So it's gonna be typical that it will be written on the meeting packets 6 o'clock, but 5 o'clock is always gonna be the closed session.
Just have to read all the detail.
I know, it's
Yeah,
just
you
that it used to say that the meeting started at 5 PM. Because we
I
opened our,
I thought that you-
meetings at 5 and then
I-
we went into closed session.
I thought we were starting at 4:30.
We started.
Well, one of the meetings we did,
One time we did.
it says right under, it says the meeting
know.
is at 6. And then
Right.
it says right under it when the closed session is.
I understand that. I guess what I'm asking is that, see, it didn't used to, it always used to say meeting starts at 5 and we go into closed session, but now it says the meeting starts at 6
Well, that's because,
because we used to open our meetings at 5. That's when the meeting actually started, right? And then we went into closed session.
exactly, however, we left,
I guess it's just the way it's written is
it
different.
is, it is. And because of the distance, our computer, what the heck do we call it? Zoom. We have everybody sitting on there for an hour waiting for us or whatever, so we thought that this would be a easier way for everyone to know the time.
Okay.
Okay, see you next
Thank
week.
you.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
good night.